Hello there, this is Kuli Kekula. Welcome to my tutorial. In today's tutorial, we will be using Erdas Imagine software to do layer stacking and also to subset our image using a shapefile. The first thing I want to do is make sure my data is saved in a particular folder. So here is it. My working folder is in the Windows C, and here we have Erdas is my working folder and it's in Windows C. As you can see, I've already extracted all of the bands from this Landsat 8 image which is in the zip file. And then in here, you have the shapefile I will be using to subset my image. Now that I have all the data I need in a particular folder, let me go and open up Erdas Imagine. Here is Erdas Imagine. The first thing I'm going to do here is perform a layer stack. To do that, you click here on the raster tab, come here to spectra, click on spectra, and then layer stack. This dialog box opens. So in here, we will input all of the bands we want to use to do our layer stack. Here is the input file, and then we use this yellow file icon to navigate to our working folder that contains our data. So I click here, Windows C opens, and I remember that my working folder is Erdas, so I double click on Erdas, but then nothing appears here. Like you saw, all of the bands are extracted, and the reason it doesn't appear or they don't appear here is because the file type here is by default the file type here is .img, but then the Landsat 8 bands that we are going to use for the layer stack is in TIFF format, .tiff. So you need to first of all come here, click here and change from .img to TIFF. So I click here, and then you see all of our bands have shown here in here. So you don't need all of the bands to do your layer stack. The bands you will need will depend on what you intend to do on the work you are doing, because different bands have different usage. So for this purpose of the work, I will mainly be using it to analyze vegetation, especially mangrove vegetation in an urban area. So I will love to start by inputting the band 2. So I click here, click OK, and then click Add. So I've inputted my first band. I need to go back to my working folder and input the others. So I come here, click back on this yellow icon, and then it takes me back to my working folder. The next band I want to input is band 3. So I click on band 3. I click OK. I click Add. I go back in there. The next one is band 4. Click on band 4. Click OK. And click Add. The same process. Click on band 5. Click OK. Click Add. Click here. The next one I want to bring is band 6. Click OK. And then click Add. Band 7. Come here. Click OK. And then click Add. Now, as you can see, I've inputted all of the bands I want. It could be more, it could be less, depending on what you want. So the next thing is the upper file. So I have to save it in my working folder. And to go there, you click again on the yellow icon to navigate to your working folder. Here is it, Erdas. So I want to give it a name that will reflect the work I'm doing, something that I can easily remember. So I will be working in the Monrovia area, so I will want to name this Monrovia Stack. You could give it any name of your choice, but I want to name it Monrovia Stack because I think I can easily remember it that way. So in here I put Monrovia Stack. This method of naming is called the camel case. I quite easily written Monrovia underscore stack, but then I chose to use this camel case method. So I click OK. You could you could leave every other thing here as default, but then I will click ignore zero instats, and then I click OK. It will take some time to run, depending on the speed of your computer. My laptop now is not very fast, so it will take some time for this to finish. So I've got to be a little more patient while it runs. Okay, I think we are good to go. As you can see, it's 100% complete. So I click close here. Now, if you see here, you cannot find anything. You won't find a layer stack we just created. This is a content area where all the layers I normally line up, but we have nothing here. So to input the layer stack we just created, you come here, click on File, and then you can see it here right under the recent documents. So I click on it, and then it appears here, and also here. Sometimes it won't appear here. Sometimes it won't appear in here. You will need to come here, right click, and then click on fit to window, fit layer to window. But in this case, it appeared here already, so we don't need to do that. Now, let me use my mouse to reduce the image so we can see the extent. Now, you see in here, we have some cloud cover here. This area is the Atlantic Ocean, but I'm not really interested in this part of the image. My area of interest is somewhere in here. This is Monrovia, the capital city of Liberia. In here, this area with the dark red here is the Mesorado wetland. It is a wetland protected by the Ramsar Convention on Wetlands. So it is an important ecological zone, but despite its status as a protected area, It has over the years been under intense pressure from anthropogenic activities. Now that I know that my area of interest is concentrated around here and not the entire image, so I will want to subset this image to keep only the area of interest, which will make my work a lot easier than working with the entire image, since my only area of interest is somewhere around here. So to subset the image, we'll be using the shapefile, a shapefile of the study area. The first thing we need to do here is to import the shapefile, and it can be done several ways. I could choose to click anywhere in here and then come here to open vector layer and then navigate to my working folder, and then here is the shapefile, Mesorado shapefile. Another way this could be done, I could come here to file, click open, click vector layer, and then I get the same outcome. Here is my working folder, Erdas, and then in here you have mesorado.shp, which is the file extension for shapefile. So I click on it and then I click OK. Now the shapefile has appeared and you can see the area extent of the shapefile. This shows that my area of interest is only where the shapefile covers. Now the first thing you need to do is click on the shapefile. Here I click on it, it has turned yellow. Make sure that whenever you are doing this, you have the same thing. When you click on your shapefile, make sure it turns yellow. By turning yellow, it shows that it has been selected. Now that it has been selected, I come and click on the Home tab. Come here, click on Copy. Copy the selected elements to a copy or paste buffer. Now I click on Copy. The next thing I need to do is here, come here, click on Paste from selected object. I click here, and then you can see an AOR layer has been created. You can see here, you can see. To be sure, let me just uncheck this for a moment, and then you can see the AOR layer has been created. This AOR layer will be used to subset this image. So what I need to do next is come here to raster, click on raster, come to subset and chip, click on here, and then click on create subset image. Now this dialog box opens, but then it extends further down here. So to be able to see everything in this dialog box, I click on it and drag it up here. So now you can see by default we have monoverstack.img, which is the right file type that's supposed to be in here. So I leave it as it is. Now the next thing I need to do is to go to upload file and give it a name. So I click here, locate my working folder. Now I'm going to name it Monover subset. So after giving it a name, I click OK. The next thing I want to do here is it could remain, everything here could remain as default, but I started by clicking ignore 0 instance, so it won't make any difference or much difference, but I click here. Now the next thing we need to do is select our EUR layer that we will use to subset our image. So click here on EUR. Now we have three options here. EUR source can be from a viewer or a previously saved EUR layer. In this case, we'll be using the EUR here from viewer to subset the image. So we choose, sorry, there is something that needed to be done first. There is something that has to be done first. There is something that had to be done first. So let's just get rid of this for a moment. The first thing is you have to click here. Okay, here we are. Make sure this box has been created around your EUR layer. Otherwise, it won't work. So now that this box has been created, I have to go back, click on subset and chip, go back to create subset image. Now, like I said earlier, by default, the right file is in here. So go back here, locate your working folder, click on Erdas, and then I will click, I want to name it Monrovia subset. I click OK. Click in here, ignore 0 in start. You could choose to ignore it as well. Now I come here to EUI. Like I said earlier, you could use a previously saved EUI file to subset the image, but in this case, we are using the EUI here from viewer. So click on viewer, and then you click OK. Now we are set to go. So the next thing you have to do here is click OK. It is done, 100% complete. So again, I click on OK here to bring in the image we just subset. You come to File. On our recent document, you will see Monrovia subset. So I click, and here is it, Monrovia subset. So just clicking here, and then so that the box that appeared over the EUR layer, around the EUR layer, will disappear. Now I don't need this shapefile. I will uncheck this. I don't need the EUR layer. I will uncheck it. I don't need the entire image here as well. So I uncheck it so that I'm left with only my study area. So as you can see, like I said earlier, this dark area here, this is the Mesorado River, and then all in here you have a mangrove area, the Mesorado mangrove, which as I said earlier, is a protected area. Now this is Monrovia. As you can see, there are a lot of built up areas. The area you see in this color cyan are built up areas all here. This is a major road, but then we will be going further into land cover analysis in our tutorials down the line. But for today's tutorial, we have done the layer stack and subsetted our image using the shapefile. So I want to say a big thank you and hope you keep watching, as there are a lot of good things in stock. So I hope this tutorial helped you, and then if it helped you and you found it useful, kindly subscribe to my channel, and I will be very grateful for that. So once more, thank you, goodbye, and see you soon.